So talk to me about some of the maybe 1, 2 business lessons or experiences that you've had that you take really closely to you. Maybe it's from a book, maybe it's from a mentor, maybe it's from, again, your own experiences that really changed the way of how you think about growing a business.
Yes, I think it all comes down to people at the end of the day. I think your team is your most valuable asset
Hmm.
at the end of the day because things change rapidly. You might not succeed in one indication. You have to go focus on others. There's multiple things that happen. There's so many knobs to worry about.
Yeah.
So if you have the right team, then you morph the business the way you want to address the opportunity ahead of you. So that's one thing that I've taken away from my past life, so to speak.
That's awesome. That's awesome because at the end of the day, people grow businesses, right? So
Yeah, it's
I love
people
that.
that grow businesses. Take care of your customers, take care of your people, and those are your two biggest constituencies, if you will.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Business of Learning podcast. My name is Ron Camargo. I am your host, and my guest here today is Sanjai Murali, who is a CEO and founder at JOGO Health. Sanjay, thank you so much for being here today. I'm excited
Hey,
to have
Jean,
this
it's
chat.
great to meet you, and hello to your folks, everyone in the audience.
Yes, I'm excited to have this chat as well because what you guys are doing is very personally is very exciting to me, to myself, and what the health benefits that it has. So why don't we start off with you just telling everyone a little bit more about the company, who you guys are, what you do, and any further context you'd like to share.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you for hosting me today. And so I came from the tech world, most notably worked on the smart chip and the first payment application on the internet. This is even before there was a word called e-commerce. And so that's where I cut a lot of my teeth doing, highly scalable, consumer centric, highly consumable applications. And as things would have it, I was introduced to these two pioneers in the EMG biofeedback space. To make the long story short, Dr. Joe Brudney and Dr. Gordon Silverman, they were the early pioneers. More about them later in the podcast. But
Yeah.
essentially, they had a big behemoth machine, and it wasn't easy to consume. Right. While it was a very effective modality for variety of indications, post-stroke disorders, spasticity, spasmodic torticollis, et cetera, chronic pain amongst them. But it was not easy to consume at home, nor was it easy to consume in a clinic. It took about 40 minutes to set it up and get it going.
Yeah.
So it didn't.
Sounds tough.
It sounds tough. It doesn't work in today's healthcare environment.
Yeah.
So I saw this as a consumption problem that was a cool modality. It really worked, but it wasn't easy to consume even at the most minimum of scale.
Hmm.
So that's where I brought a lot of my product background to bear on it, to make it available, to make it easy to consume. And so that's what got me started. And once we got it built and took it on the road, showed it to clinicians, they got excited. So it kind of snowballed from there to multiple indications. So today we serve about 21 indications. Mayo Clinic is an investor and a partner. And one of the latest applications that we have found is to manage the intubation in critical care. Yeah. So
That is so exciting. That is awesome. And not to dive into too much detail, but I would love for you to also share with the listeners right now, um, on top of everything that you just talked about, in the I guess the conditions that it can help improve the health on. I would love for you to share kind of the pathway that it takes, or not really the pathway, but the mechanism the reaction mechanism that happens on the brain that allows these solutions to that allows your solution to solve some of these health issues.
Oh, absolutely. So this technique has been known for about 50 years or maybe even more. So essentially the brain is very plastic, meaning that it's infinitely malleable.
Mm-hmm.
Given enough inputs, it can rejigger itself, reconnect itself in multiple different ways.
Mm-hmm.
And EMG biofeedback is one really good technique that makes this happen very, very quickly. So the mechanism of action is we read EMG off the surface of the muscle. And if it's a motor issue, which is true in post-stroke disorders like spasticity,
Yeah.
there's disturbed motor control, meaning the whole control circuitry between the brain and the muscle is impacted. So whereas the muscle needs to relax when it's not doing something, it holds attention forever, right?
Yeah.
So imagine contracting your biceps like all the time, right? That's
Sounds
what
so
it
fun. Yeah.
that's what it feels like. I mean, you can't move if you don't let the triceps contract, right? You can't.
Yep.
Your arms won't function. They work like the agonist, the antagonist pair.
Right.
So what we do is we read EMG off the surface, and step one in the protocol is awareness. So the brain becomes aware of what the muscle is doing. And the second step in the protocol is actually control. So now the patient learns like how to control it, either get it up a certain threshold or below a certain threshold. So as the patient works with the EMG output, which is now a proxy for what the muscle is doing, that's what spawns off the neuroplastic changes in the brain. So the neurons begin to reconnect or make newer pathways. And science hasn't figured out at the most granular level how this happens.
Mm.
But what we do know is if you give these inputs, it does begin to form newer connections.
Yeah.
And this is proven through MRIs, uh, functional MRI studies, etc. And so once the newer pathways are built, the theory is that that replaces the circuitry that's been lost due to disease or injury and so on.
Mm-hmm.
So how the transition happens, like how this new connections take over, so that's a level of granularity that we don't fully understand.
Mm-hmm.
But we do know that, the newer connections kind of take over. So because it's been trained with this input.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And,
That's
and
awesome.
once you wean them off the inputs, then you get functional improvement.
Yeah, for sure. This is so exciting. I for anyone that's listening and does not know, I have a bachelor's in kinesiology, so I went through many uh lectures of physiology and the mechanism of all these things in the back end. So not to get too nerdy for anyone here, but I would love to also understand. And if this is getting too nerdy, please let me know. But is part of that mechanism also going through because we all maybe we not we all know, but part of the action that the mechanism that needs to happen for a muscle to relax is having the calcium that goes into the oh man, terms are gonna miss me now, but the calcium going into the right place to allow the muscle relaxation to happen. Myosin gets unbinded from the certain proteins, and that's what allows that to happen. Is that alongside the neurology of it, is that also part of what you guys do? That let me rephrase that question. Outside of just the mechanism and the neurology behind it, is the chemical side of it also something that happens in what you guys are providing?
No, we don't inject any pharmacological agent
Yeah. And
into
that's
the
actually not
body.
even what I mean. I mean, even so, let me just
Yeah.
reinstate that as well. Just in the way that the neurology gets trained, do you know, and this might be a too nerdy of a question, so I apologize if it is. Do you know that actually trains the natural chemicals inside the body to go to the right place to allow that muscle relaxation contraction to happen as well?
Yeah, I think this is a this is beyond me.
Too nerdy for you. Sorry. Yeah, sorry.
But I think what we do know is the at the neuronal connection level, we know that newer connections happen. But as a result of that, is the calcium channel more active? We don't know.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
Or I'm not knowledgeable enough to to comment.
No, no worries at all. Yeah, this is just it's something because I think that was like the area in which you guys are operating, muscle contraction, all these things was actually the part of physiology that I was I'll call it annoying to my classmates about, because I was really interested by it. So any nerd question that I can ask, I will always do. But yeah, it just went a little bit too beyond on that one. But it's no worries. I'd love to understand too, Sanjay. Talk to me about what are some of the most common conditions that are able to be treated by what you guys provide.
Yeah. So, yeah, post-stroke disorders, spasticity, co-contraction, flaccidity, facial palsy,
Mm-hmm.
these are, they respond very well for this.
Mm-hmm.
Pelvic floor disorders, both on the bladder side as well as the bowel side.
Mm-hmm.
And these are, variety of disorders. Stress incontinence, which means that the patient leaks when they cough or sneeze, or even if the car goes over a speed bump,
Mm.
they start leaking. If they just get up suddenly from the chair, they start leaking. These are small leaks, and that's because the pelvic floor and the external sphincter aren't working properly.
Mm-hmm.
So this can retrain those muscles to alleviate stress incontinence. So that's number
Mm-hmm.
one. Number two is what's called voiding dysfunction. So the external sphincter below the bladder doesn't relax at all, and therefore the bladder doesn't empty. So
Mm-hmm.
we are able to retrain those muscles by using the pelvic floor muscles as a proxy, because all these muscles work in some kind of synchronous fashion.
Yes, yes, for sure.
So so you use one muscle as a proxy to train the other,
Yeah,
and
and then
so
they become,
they respond really well.
yeah.
And the standard go-to exercises have been Kegel exercises, which any PT that's trained in pelvic floor would teach you how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But then what happens is that the patient oftentimes would contract the wrong muscle and would aggravate the symptoms
Mm-hmm.
because they don't know which muscles they're contracting.
Yeah,
But these are deep seated muscles. You can't feel them. Uh,
externally, yeah, can't feel
you
them.
can feel them externally. So this gives a feedback of what the patient is doing, and
Mm.
therefore they do it correctly, and therefore the outcomes are much better.
Awesome. And tell me a little bit more about the awareness of this as well, because I think so many people that might have these conditions, they think it's just a lost cause, right? Oh, there's nothing I can do about this. I've tried physiotherapy, I've tried all these things, and nothing seems to work. But if they're only were aware that there are solutions like what you guys are providing to their problems, then that's a completely new life for them. So tell me about that awareness. How are people finding out about you, and that you exist, and that this is something that can completely change their lives?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. So the awareness, I would say, is very, very poor.
Mm,
Even amongst the providers,
yeah.
they might have studied for the board exams and passed,
Hmm.
but they've not seen something like this in practice because not many. It's hard to find a pelvic floor physiotherapist, and even if you do find, biofeedback practitioners amongst them, or even fewer, right?
Hmm.
So nobody's done an education of, okay, this modality exists, it's very effective, and therefore your patients would be really served well, right? So we are going and educating the OBGYNs, the urogynects, the urologists. And when we go and present to them, then it just comes back to them like, yes, I've studied this on my boards, or I've studied this in my curriculum, but we've never seen a small, easy to use machine.
Hmm.
So once they're bought into it, then they start writing prescriptions.
Yeah.
So it's a very traditional pharma like model of, okay,
Sure.
educating the key opinion leaders and
Hmm.
then having the prescriptions flow, because that's where patients end up first. They go through At childbirth, they see a OBGYN, and then postpartum, this is very common. So unless the OBGYN knows, oftentimes they would say, go to YouTube and learn keyboards
Hmm.
because
So
they
it's
can't.
not as simple as that. Yeah.
And they would go see a YouTube and do it the incorrect way, aggravate symptoms.
Yeah.
And OBGYNs are incented to do surgeries, manage pregnancies, etc. They don't have the one-on-one time to spend 45 minutes in a therapeutic session.
Hmm.
So there's a place for a physiotherapist, especially a pelvic floor physiotherapist. And so that's how we're making the prescribers aware of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're
That's
also
interesting.
doing the consumer focused awareness. Yeah.
Ah, got it. Got it. And is this usually them them coming to you and trying to find out a little bit more about what exists, or is it you reaching out to these practitioners, these um these clinics, these health systems, whatever it might be, like, hey, here's something that exists and here's why you should probably care about it? Is that usually how it happens? Talk a little bit
Yes.
more about
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yes. I mean, these providers are extremely busy.
Yeah.
Um, I would say, it's you walk into any hospital or provider's office, it's really crazy. So yeah, so it's trying to get in front of them and educate them, and then get them to prescribe, and then once they see the results, they're bought into it,
Yeah.
and they're happy to tell their friends and colleagues
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
this in fact exists, it's
Yeah.
reimbursed, so on and so forth.
Yeah. What do you think are the biggest challenges when it comes to growing the company? Because every single organization has some form of impact that they want to achieve, but of course there has to be revenue to back that impact so that both can grow accordingly. So if you had to wave a magic wand, Sanjay, and you could just solve one issue inside of the company, something that you guys do that you can control, so not just $1 billion in funding, but something that you control, even though there are sometimes many priorities, you solve this one challenge, you're able to have your client acquisition goals, your revenue goals, any other targets for the company. Wave that wand, that challenge is solved. What would you like to solve?
Yeah, so luckily demand generation is not an issue, right? there's there's enough demand out there.
Mm,
The problem is always on the supply side, right? Finding enough therapists that are trained, train them, and then the reimbursement, navigating that. It's one thing to get reimbursed for the service, another thing to get reimbursed for the device. So
mm,
these are, pretty long process.
mm,
Going through the regulatory hoops, we got the FDA approval. Now to get it reimbursed, there's a whole different set of mechanisms that we need to employ.
mhm,
If I were to have a magic wand, then I would get the device reimbursed at a premium, and that's the biggest issue. Just to get
interesting.
get enough therapists, get enough reimbursement. It's all supply side challenges.
Interesting. That's not what I was expecting. Based on what you said before, yeah, I would love to get your thoughts on this as well, because we were talking about that awareness side of things and how even sometimes in the practitioners, the professionals, it can be very, very poor. So I was actually expecting your answer to be something along the lines of starting these conversations, finding these people to talk to, and really educating them on that side of things. But that doesn't seem to be the case. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, no, it's not, because there's no competing modality, right?
Mm,
So there's no drugs that can treat this. And yes, there's some surgical procedures, but they're not your first line of treatment, if you know
mhm.
what I mean, right? So once you present to them, there's no pushback, so to speak.
Interesting. But that presentation part, that's not an issue. Getting that call, getting that conversation,
I
finding
mean,
out
yes, I mean, it's not like you can walk in on day one and get a meeting.
Sure.
But once you do, there's no pushback, right?
Ah, got it. Yeah. So after that actually happens, then it's most, because as you said, the proof is in the pudding, right? So you show them the actual evidence, then it's easy for them to be bought in. And
Right.
especially in the healthcare side, when you see such amazing results, so many amazing things that can be accomplished, the impact that it drives, Yeah, that's really, really cool. Oh, interesting. So thank you for sharing that. I'd also love to understand, this isn't your first venture in business, right? You mentioned that you had something else that you left to do this here as well. So talk to me about some of the, maybe one, two business lessons or experiences that you've had that you take really closely to you. Maybe it's from a book, maybe it's from a mentor, maybe it's from, again, your own experiences that really changed the way of how you think about growing a business.
Yes, I think it all comes down to people at the end of the day. I think your team is your most valuable asset
Hmm.
at the end of the day, because things change rapidly. You might not succeed in one indication. You have to go focus on others. There's multiple things that happen. There's so many knobs to worry about.
Yeah.
So if you have the right team, then you can morph the business the way you want to address the opportunity ahead of you, right? So that's one thing that I've taken away from my past lives, so to
Yeah.
speak. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome, because at the end of the day, people grow businesses, right? So
Yeah, it's
I love
people
that.
that grow businesses. Take care of your customers, take care of your people, and those are your two biggest constituencies, if you will.
Amazing. I really love that answer. And I have one final question for you here, Sanjay, which is actually not a question from me. It's a question from our last guest to you, and they had no idea who you were. So here's the question. You ready for it?
Yeah, sure.
I haven't heard this one before, so let's see. When was the last time you were offended by something?
When was I last offended by something? This is something that you have to face every day as a startup founder, startup CEO. You know, somebody says that this is this evidence is hogwash,
Mm,
or and you just don't take it to heart. You just roll with the punches, and over time you get to love it. That, okay, let me prove you it's otherwise, right?
yeah.
So it gets me going. Um, yes, momentarily it feels offensive, but there's the excitement of proving them otherwise.
That's awesome. Use it as fuel as opposed to being a victim. Well,
Yeah,
I like that a lot.
yeah, absolutely.
Amazing. Yeah, Sanjay, thank you so much for your time. This has been such an incredible, insightful talk. Sorry for the nerdy question on the beginning there.
No,
I,
no, no.
I
Any
said,
questions? Any questions are welcome.
yeah.
Thanks, Josh, for taking the time, and hopefully this is of use to you, to your viewers, and
It has been phenomenal. Yeah, thank you so much. Where should people go if they want to learn a little bit more about you, but of course also a little bit more about Jago?
yeah, go to jogohealth.com. It's jogohealth.com. You can find us there, and you can see us on LinkedIn, on Facebook. We're not so much into Instagram as yet, but surely I
No,
think these two channels
yeah,
you can read about us.
amazing. I will of course leave everything down below here in the description if you want to check that out. If you're still listening to this conversation and you want to hear more conversations like this, please hit the subscribe button, and I will see you on the next episode. Thank you so much for your time, Sanjay.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.